Kevin McCarthy is a really sort of fascinating character in this drama, I think, because he's hanging around.
Afterlife.
It's like, this is like it's like a situation where like the caucus has broken up with him. But he's hanging around because like the caucus is still single.
Yeah.
And
right.
He also knows that the caucus's uncle has died and left in the will, left something in the will. It said you need to be married by a certain time,
right,
if you're going to inherit all this money. It's sort of like what was that movie with I think it was Jackie Gleason and maybe it was I can't remember. Or Brewster's Millions. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Brewster's Millions. And so the caucus needs to get married to get the inheritance.
Yeah.
But they can't find anybody to marry. And so Kevin McCarthy is still hanging around going like, hey, what about me?
Yeah, there's like there's some other prospects that are cropping up, but he can follow, the ex on social media, sees her on Instagram, maybe on a date or something.
You get an I'm Too Sexy for My Shirt
right.
compilation as they're trying out all the new different types of speakers that don't work out.
Exactly.
Yes,
and what he's trying to do at this time is he's like, I'm going to use this time to work out.
Yep.
I'm going to lose a couple of pounds.
Post some thirst traps at very opportune times. So she sees it.
Here is a newly tanning bed Kevin McCarthy on Meet the Press this weekend, basically trying to, pitch himself. It looks like he's even like sort of like up to like a little bit on the dyeing of the hair. And maybe there's something going on here. He's really trying to, I'm still here, still single. So
I want to ask you, I hear you invoking Democrats. I understand why. The reality, though, is, as you know, Republicans control the House. Does this not come down to Matt Gaetz ultimately moving to oust you? And therefore, do you bear some responsibility for this, Mr. Speaker, for agreeing to give him the deal in the first place to be able to remove you with just one vote?
Well, that deal has been with every speaker in the House. The only person who had changed it is Nancy Pelosi. But no other party. I had the power to make this motion against Nancy Pelosi, but I never did because I believed in the institution of the House. All the other Democrat leaders believed they never should have be able to raise this issue. Remember, as we go forward in the next decade, if the majority changes, no one's going to have a big majority. So what Hakeem Jeffries has just done, changed the institution itself to say it's okay to always make a motion to try to shut down one branch of government.
But Mr. Speaker, just to be clear,
what Matt Gaetz has done here, think about this. He has chosen with no plan, concerned about an ethics complaint that was registered against him in the last Congress, to try to go and move and shut it down. This is a wrong approach. It's brought chaos. The Democrats went along with it, and they have blame too. But I would sit back. I'll take whatever blame needed. But if the blame is on me for keeping government open and voting for the troops, I would do that again tomorrow.
But just very quickly, just to put a fine point on it, before we get to Tom Emmer, do you regret giving Matt Gaetz that power over you?
Yes.
You don't have that choice. You have 218 votes to pass a rule. No Democrat would vote. They all voted just like they did to shut this, to throw me out. They all voted against that rule as well. So they wouldn't help at that time. Right. So I believed moving forward is the best, like every other speaker has had.
It is a shift in tone, right? I mean, he'd previously been basically going and saying this is the Democrats' fault. And I know he's been publicly railing against Matt Gaetz too. But the reality is it's basically two people who have the most blame in the situation are Matt Gaetz and Kevin McCarthy, who agreed to that provision. I keep emphasizing
he's willing to give Matt Gaetz some of the blame.
Yeah,
so he's willing to do that.
I mean, it's like they did a handshake deal to get him into power, and then he's only blaming one side of that. The reason that it hadn't happened before is because no one was as like power hungry and then incompetent at the same time to agree to this in order to become Speaker of the House.
And we should say, though, the upshot is at least I don't think it's the American public really buys it that much. and it's only going to get worse. Like, I don't know what they do, frankly, at this point. We'll see in the coming days, but I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to be responsible for a government shutdown. I mean, obviously, if they can't even vote to get a speaker. And the real question is, like, they're going to need Democratic votes, apparently, to give McHenry temporary powers. And then, like, you could be in this weird situation where McHenry is getting the majority of his votes from Democrats, because a lot of those Republicans, once, like, after the first round of, and they'll probably do like in 15-day increments. I mean, this is if I had to predict something, and I have no idea, I would say McHenry's going to get one 15-day sort of like pass so that he can get the budget through. And it's going to come under the deal. It's got to be, we got to pass the budget, and then whatever you want else to do, we'll go along with that. Otherwise, we revoke immediately or something to that effect. And so we'll see if what happens. But there's going to be a huge revolt amongst Republicans if Democrats are providing the majority of votes for McHenry just to get the budget passed. It's going to be fascinating.
Well, if the Democrats are providing a majority of the votes, do you think that they would have a say over what the powers can be in terms of the designation for what McHenry can do? And then they're calling the shots a little bit there as well in terms of limiting his ability to cut or alter the budget in any way. In theory, could they not say, we'll vote for a speaker pro temp or whatever, but they only have the power to do continuing resolutions as opposed to larger budget deals? I
don't know how much authority they have over, like, what they would provide. Again, like, I've never seen anything like this, so I have no idea what. I don't know that there's many people who do. Frankly, it's not like widely. We're in territory now that is not widely. There is no, like,
there's no precedent.
Wide institutional memory for this. Somebody knows. Here is AOC on with Mehdi Hassan yesterday, talking about this speakership fight as Byron Donalds puts his hat into the ring. I don't know how many there were when this interview took place, but there's now 9.
They had a spat, did they not, on the House Oversight Committee?
She mentions it. This is specifically what she's talking about.
Okay, good. So they don't like each other.
So you mentioned your colleagues in the Congress. Before we run out of time, I've got to ask you about the House itself. You have no speaker right now. The Republicans defenestrated Kevin McCarthy, couldn't agree on Steve Scalise or Jim Jordan. Now Byron Donalds, congressman from Florida, wants to be speaker. What do you make of him?
He's only served one term in the U.S. House of Representatives. Last thing that he did in an oversight committee was attempt to submit falsified evidence to an impeachment hearing. I think it helps to know where all the bathrooms are before you run for the U.S. House of Representatives personally. And I think it helps to have some real experience in one of the most complex legislative bodies in the world before you try to run it.
I am in favor of a complete novice, frankly, running the Republican House. I'm in total favor of that. I would vote for him.
Yeah, I mean, better than who we've got. So what she was referring to there was during the Hunter Biden, the impeachment inquiry hearings regarding Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. Byron Donalds put up a screenshot of a text message, and it was fabricated. Do you remember this? It was like basically a month ago or something like that. So, that's just we don't need the clip there. That's basically what the context of that is. But just to contextualize the clown show that we're dealing with.
He had put up a text message that he was saying implied that Hunter Biden and Jim Biden, Biden's brother, were asking Biden for like financial assistance with their business, and what it actually was when you put the entire context of the message was that Jim was asking Joe to help Hunter with his alimony payments. and not with anything relating to his businesses or to anything.
Or so they say.
Yeah, exactly. This was
Really, his alimony payments.
Alimony is a bank in Ukraine, I hear.
Why don't you drop out the third letter of that word, and then also the second to last letter, then create numbers based upon where they land in the alphabet, and then get back to me.
Get on that,
I
Bradley.
think it spells China. The Columbo thing, and one more thing, Mr. Biden.
Oh, yeah.
Where's your laptop? Where's that hard drive of yours?
You never found them. Calling from Connecticut. I think we get a new speaker after November 17th. Yeah, that's after the, I think we'll get one in the running up. There has to be something.